Hello and welcome to another episode of Scottish Football Matters with me, Lorenzo, and my good friend Murray.
Hiya.
Right, tonight we're going to be reviewing the midweek FPFL game between St Mirren and Livy, and
Yep.
we'll look back on the midweek European ties from last night, and then we'll look ahead to this weekend's Premiership fixtures. How you doing, mate?
Cool. Yeah, all good. It was probably one of the better weeks for the coefficient. About time Rangers actually. Well, obviously, as we know, Rangers have carried it for years, but we've done nothing this year. So it's about time we got that monkey off our back and a good result for Danny Rule, I think, to take into next year. Obviously, it makes no difference for this year, but you wouldn't want to be going into potentially qualifiers or big European games without having a win. Because
Mhm.
it adds extra pressure. So yeah, and Celtic ground out a really good point in the end because it is a good point because it keeps them in a position where they know that if they win next week, then they're through.
That's
But
right.
I think if we start with the Livingston St Mirren game, I obviously just caught the highlights on the BBC website, but Livingston obviously took their goal really well. And they'll be gutted. They'll be gutted with it at 89th minute, I think it was, when
Hmm.
Gogic equalised.
Aye.
Livy seemed to be calling for a foul, but I couldn't see one. I thought Gogic was just bigger and stronger.
Yep,
Um,
he's a big man.
and I think he just wanted it more, which I think that probably annoyed David Martindale more than anything else. I think that
Hmm.
might be where his complaints are from. That with a minute to go in a must-win game when you're bottom of the league, the opposition wanted it more, and that the other side, you don't mind if a team cuts you open and scores a worldie or something, but
Aye.
when it's a last minute set piece, that annoys you. When you're
Hmm.
getting a free header for about 4 or 5 yards. So, but I think it's an opportunity for. It's weird because I look at it and I sort of go, it's a missed opportunity for both of them.
Hmm.
But at the same time, it's a point for both of them, and it's a point to build on. So we need to see if either one can build on it this weekend.
Yep, but
But on to the
they're down there, aren't
European
they?
stuff. On to the European stuff. We'll touch on Rangers first because obviously that was the less meaningful game in terms of the Europa League qualification because Rangers are out. But
Hmm.
um, I thought we were okay. Um, very, very Rangersy. There was good moments. There was iffy moments. But what it highlighted to me is what everyone knows is that Rangers won't be winning a league unless they address that number 9 position because
Hmm.
you can you can only get away with scoring, set piece goals and having your top goal scorer have 5 goals. It's great sometimes to have your goals spread out all over the park, but when it comes to that crunch time, you might only get a game like against Celtic or Hearts where you get 1 or 2 chances
Yep.
and you need to take it. And
Hmm.
I think if Rangers are going to not just win the title, if Rangers are going to be in a title race, they have to strengthen in that number 9 position
Yeah,
because
they probably will have to. Aye.
Miovski and Chomite are okay, but they're not. There's no guarantee with goals for them.
Hmm.
Uh, but I did think, on the balance of play, Rangers should have won by 3, 4, or 5. I mean, but it's a problem when you go into the last minute of a game and you're only 1-0 up
Hmm.
and you start to get nervous and Jack Butland flaps it across in the last minute and it nearly caught. I mean, do you know what I mean? It's something that Rangers need to address. You get away with it against Ludogorets, but we didn't get away with it against Braga and other teams
Hmm.
when we couldn't quite get that second goal.
Yeah.
Because Rangers could be in a position where they could still be in Europe if they had a bit more at the top end. Because
Hmm.
that's where you get really tested in Europe. You need to, but no, I think that's all we need to really say about that one is that it was a comfortable-ish win for Rangers, and it should be good for Danny Rule going forward into next season, in that he
Hmm.
can now sort of say, "Well, do you know what? I've got that monkey off my back. Let's build on it."
And
But
Ludogorets are poor. They were really poor.
yeah, but they were no poorer than some of the teams that have beat us.
I know.
If you know what I mean, because I didn't look at them and think they were worse than Genk, who beat us 1-0, or Braga, who we drew one each with.
Mm.
If I'm totally honest, the only team that came to Ibrox and looked good were Roma. The other three teams were all beatable, and Rangers should have beat them had they
Yeah.
had a competent manager in the first one. And obviously, Rangers got 2 red cards in those 2 other games. Deal Mandy gets sent off in 2 of our 3 home games. I mean, that's madness. He
Crazy.
scores in the other one, which is fun. He's certainly been lively in the Europa League. I mean, I think he's been suspended for 2 games, been sent off in 2 games, and scored in one.
Scored.
So, but no, I think I don't think they were that bad a side, but I don't think, as I said, they weren't great either. But I don't
No.
think the standard the teams that Rangers have played, apart from Roma, and obviously I think Brand played really well on the night. Like sometimes you do need to say that they deserved a win, but I don't think Strumgrats were good. I don't think Ferencvaros were that good. It
Hmm.
was individual errors that killed us, and
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 as you
that's what
said,
happens at the top level.
aye, and as you said, if you had a decent manager in for the beginning, who knows, you might have had a better
Yeah,
campaign.
yeah, we wouldn't have under Danny Rule, we wouldn't have lost to Genk. Put it that way, because they were there for the taking, even down to 10 men.
Hmm.
That's how poor they were, and we gave about 8,000 chances to
Aye,
score 1 goal.
I know
but
exactly.
but that was more just about like similar when you said Nancy and that we were too easy to play against. I don't think
Yeah.
O would have got 8,000 chances against a Danny Rule team. He might have only got 2 or 3, and
Hmm.
based on O's finishing, he probably wouldn't have scored. If you get what I mean,
Aye.
that game would have finished 0-0 because he wouldn't have got to just walk into your half
Yeah, and he
unchallenged.
missed the penalty, didn't
Aye, aye. But
he?
on to the Celtic. It's a difficult game to describe because I thought Celtic were gifted the opener. Let's not make
Oh,
any
it was a
bones about
gift.
it, right?
It was a gift. But it's
It's
not the first
similar to
time.
the Feyenoord game.
Aye. Hmm.
But see the Feyenoord game, that was because of good pressing. Celtic pressed high and pressed well against
But
Feyenoord.
the goalkeeper's at fault there, isn't he, for that
I
goal
don't
last
think
night?
I don't think Maida wasn't even pressing. He just
I know.
passed the ball straight to him.
Hmm.
But do you know what? You need to take advantage when a team makes an error.
See when you get
And
luck, you need to take
if
it.
you look at if you look at the Braga goal at Ibrox, that was down to Giga passing the ball straight to them. So
Hmm.
you take advantage of these things. But what I would say, Celtic looked really good at 1-0 up.
Yeah,
Um,
they did.
then Hatate gets his
Comfortable,
first
I'd say.
booking.
Hmm.
I'd say his first booking was harsh,
Aye.
but I don't think the second booking's harsh. I think the second booking is just pure stupidity to get
Hmm.
involved in a player when you're on a yellow card. Aye, the guy
Especially the
puts an arm out to him, but there's no
fact that
need to.
the
You
cards
don't
aren't that
kick
far
him.
apart either.
I mean, what was it? 2.5 minutes.
Something like that.
I
Something
mean,
crazy like that.
do you know what that suggested to me? Hatate's not all in. He,
And
he,
Martin O'Neill, he came
he's
out and he
not.
said
He's not got the passion
he
anymore.
came out and he came out and he said that if Hattati had been on the park, if we'd had 11 men on the park, we possibly could have won the game, and we might have. Who knows?
You know?
You
And
don't
do you know
know.
what? I thought Maeda was going to go as well. He
Well,
didn't make
Maeda
it,
kind of
but
reined it in a bit.
he did. But there was a bit on just before half time where he was just running a bit like a madman, and you're just
Mhm.
like, if you
I
just
think
missed
Martin
time one of
O'Neill's.
them,
I think Martin O'Neill said to him at half time because of the sending
I.
off to Hattati, he's probably been like to him, look, chuck it.
Uh, but what I would say is that I think on the balance of play, because the game changed with the red card, Bologna, you can't really argue merited a point because they did pin you back. They scored a great goal, the second one.
Thought we were,
That's a
thought we
great
were
finish.
unlucky not to win the game, no, in a way, because I thought we deserved to get something out of the game, and we did. But
Aye, and I
I'm
think,
happy we get the point. I'm really glad because I'd have taken the point before the game. But the
but the
position we were
point
in,
was
I'd
pivotal.
rather
The
have
point was
won the game.
pivotal in terms of it means that you know what you need to do next week
Hmm.
to get through. And I've
Yeah,
got to admit, see, selfishly, for 2 reasons, right? I want you to win next week.
I
One,
know why. I
boost
know
the
why.
coefficient, and two,
Aye.
it gives you 2 extra games that you need to struggle at. Because I'm already watching Hearts be out the cup, going, we've got a clear shot at the league.
Hmm.
I want you to have as difficult a time as possible because I genuinely think that we're in this title race now. And if there's any advantage, I mean, and I've also
That's down to say
been,
that's Celtic's fault because they hadn't
but
have
I've
brought in
also,
Nancy.
I know, but that
Who knows?
we could all look back on every mistake that every team makes over a season. But
I know.
right now, looking at it, I've been in Celtic shoes with Rangers, having know that you have to manage all these competitions and you struggle on after those Thursday nights. And all I'm saying is, if Rangers get in a position where we can play Saturday football and use are playing Sunday football for a couple of weeks,
Aye.
Like all
That's
I'm saying
that's
is
it.
that you might
That's going
have
to annoy me.
that game where Rangers are playing at home to Kelly and use I don't know what the fixtures are, but you need to go to Motherwell or Falkirk on a Sunday, and that big game becomes harder because you're behind. Possibly, do you get what I mean?
Aye.
So, but I think Celtic should always be striving to do better in Europe because, as we know, at
So
the Europa
so
League
should
level,
Rangers.
Rangers have done it though. This is
Aye,
a
I know.
this is genuinely it could just be described as a blip because Rangers have single-handedly carried the coefficient for near on 8 years
I know, but
based on.
Celtic and Rangers normally do their bit. It's
Well,
the other teams that have kind of rotten.
Celtic have been unlucky in that they've been in the Champions League where it's harder to compete, right? But when they've went to the Europa League, they've been apart from that one Lennon year against Lazio,
Mhm.
he's have been shite, and I don't think he's have been. I'll give Ange a wee pass because I think he's got a tough group one year when he's got
Was it
Leverkusen and
Real Madrid, was it?
Ferencvaros. No, it was a Europa League
Oh, the
group where he's
Europa.
got was it Leverkusen, Betis,
And
and
Ferencvaros.
Ferencvaros. Now you took care of Ferencvaros, which you should do, but I think he was
We're
too
unlucky
gung
against
ho.
Betis
I think
as well.
he was and I remember saying to you at the time that was more of a manager who doesn't know how to be pragmatic and go, let's take a point.
Well, at least
Whereas
he was a
Lennon
far
was
better
always
manager
good
than
at, and
Nancy. You know what I mean?
oh
Far
no,
better
I
manager than Wilfred
agree,
Nancy,
but last night if that was Ange's team, right, you would have lost
probably.
because he wouldn't have been able to sit on a 2-0 lead and be able to soak up pressure because Celtic
I
could
don't
never
know.
do that.
I don't know if Negrin was at the correct substitution at half time. I don't know because
Do you know
we
what?
were 2-0 up, and maybe if he brings on a different player, they might.
What
Because
you think
he was
maybe
at fault, I think,
McCowan?
for I don't know.
But he's
He
not
was at
been great
fault
though.
for one of the goals. I
Uh,
know.
Whereas I think Negrin's always got a goal in him, so sometimes I can understand having that. But he isn't a ball carrier. That's the problem. Is see when you're down to 10 men, you need somebody who can take you up the pitch, and
Hmm.
maybe you just needed that. But Europa League's difficult because you don't have the squad that you should have. Do you know what I mean in terms of all your players available? But I think he's just lacked that. Like I don't know, was Wishaw on the bench?
Aye.
I thought he maybe even somebody like that who has a bit of pace. I know he's shite, right?
I don't
But
think the
he
manager
can run.
fancies him.
But he could run with the ball and just take you up the pitch a bit.
I just
Uh,
don't think the
but
manager
do you know
fancies
what?
him. I don't think Martin
I
O'Neill
think
fancies him.
it's a good result, and it sets you up for a winner takes all tie against Utrecht, and
Hmm.
they don't look great. If I'm
No,
honest, I mean
they
they're as
don't.
bad as Rangers in terms of points and
Whereabouts
stuff,
are they in the
but
table? I don't know. I was looking for them. I couldn't
down
see them.
down by Rangers.
Oh, are they?
I
They
think
passed it.
I think they're under us.
All
Yeah,
right.
I think they've only got
Are
three
they that
points, so
bad?
maybe four. Because Rangers have only got 4 points, but I think they've got three
I
or
thought
four.
Utrecht were above us. I didn't realise that.
No, no, they're
So they're
definitely in and
basically out on our
around.
end. So they've got nothing to play for next week.
I don't know. Maybe I'll just check. I'll just check because part of me was like, no, do you know what? Actually, they might have 6 points, but I know that they're not. That they're
Because
definitely
see if
in
they've got
the
nothing to play
bottom.
for, then you would imagine that Celtic. That's basically a free hit for Celtic next week. Then
Europa League, right?
and
Utrecht are they're shite. They're sorry, they're they're shitter than Rangers.
well, the
They've only
below
got
Rangers.
they've only got 1 point,
Right, oh, fair enough then.
so they do have
Uh,
nothing to play for but pride.
but I think.
But what you need to be worried about is if he's drew the game, then there's Ludogorets who are at home to Nice, and you'd fancy them to beat Nice based
Mhm.
on I've seen a lot of Nice. They're terrible.
Well, maybe you's beating Ludogorets last night done Celtic a
It,
favour in terms
it
of
probably did
for
because
that
if that had
spot.
finished a draw,
Hmm.
they would have been ahead of you because
I didn't realise
the
that
goal
last night because
difference was better.
I didn't know the
It's
table.
all right.
But
It's all right. Well, at the end of the day, like when you've got this Europa League kind of setup, that's going to happen. If you've
mhm.
got two teams from the same country, you're going to end up helping the other one
Aye.
inadvertently sometimes. But
Um,
I don't,
but
I don't care about that.
and I
You
also
know,
wanted to give I know you don't, but I was wanting to give a special mention to well they all did well last night, but I thought Austin Trusty was
aye, man of the
fantastic.
match.
He was brilliant.
Uh,
He even
I
took
thought
one
he
in
was
the
good. I thought,
Formos as well.
aye. I thought he was good. I thought Scales was good. I thought Tierney was good considering he was up against a top player.
Mhm.
Because he did get absolutely roasted a few times, but that's okay because sometimes you're just up against a guy who's shit hot.
I mean,
But
can you
he
give him
didn't let
any
his
pass
hit.
marks because he scored the
No,
goal, but then he gets sent
no, I
off,
don't
didn't
think.
he? So
No, I wouldn't give him more than a 4
well, he's the only
because he
one that
scored a.
doesn't really get pass marks.
I would
Scores a goal
say
you don't miss, didn't you? You can't miss that.
I'd be loath to give Maeda more than a 5, to be honest. I thought he was poor as well. But he did, as you said, he did rein it in the second
I
half
thought
and
his
worked
pressing
hard.
was good to an extent. I thought his pressing was good to an extent.
It's just his end product on it. I mean, I know he's passes it across for the goal, but he's not a 9. He'll never be a 9.
No,
Um,
well, the big man now, so hopefully Big Vanterer
yeah,
can.
and it looks like Johnny Kenny's injured.
He's got a wee
He's
injury,
going to
so
miss the game. So does he start? I mean, we'll come on to the
I would.
weekend, I suppose.
Aye.
We'll
Hmm.
start with the Saturday games before we get into the two bigger Sunday games. But let's take it for Saturday. So first game we've got is Aberdeen at home to Livy. That's a tricky one. Can Aberdeen build on the cup win? I think they've done some good stuff in the transfer market, if I'm honest.
Hmm.
Lyle Cameron, obviously. They've brought in the boy that used to be at Hughes. Is it Morrison, the centre back? You
Morrison.
remember the young
Yeah.
boy that went over to
Uh-huh.
Bayern Munich?
Aye.
Yep. Liam, is it Liam? Liam
I
Morrison?
think I think
Something
it
like that.
might be something like that.
And they signed, I don't know if you remember the boy for St. Mirren, Olasanya. I thought he was brilliant
Oh,
a few
have
years
they
ago, and
signed him? All right. Aberdeen. Right.
he went over to America, didn't he? Was it Houston Dynamo
Mm.
or something?
They get a
He's
new
came
manager
back
yet,
on
Aberdeen?
loan.
No, they
No,
haven't
it's
got a new. No,
Still Peter
they're
leaving,
leaving.
but
They're leaving. Peter's
apparently they've got.
Peter's no leaving.
I know, but apparently they've got McGlynn and Robinson on a short list.
Oh, all right.
But if Peter Leaving can win against Livingston and maybe I think they've got Kilmarnock and then Celtic in the next
Hmm.
couple of games and what I'm not saying they're easy games, but if he can pick up positive results, then why not?
Aye. I think John McGlynn's a manager who deserves a bigger club, if I'm honest. No
I know,
disrespect to Falkirk, but I think he's done a
I
good
don't
job.
think he's the sort of manager that would leave somebody mid-season. I just think he's so loyal.
I agree with you.
I
Right.
think
So,
Stephen Robinson would. I'm not saying that
aye.
he isn't loyal, but
No, but the
if
thing
you've
is,
won a cup, I think he
he out
would
the two
leave.
of them, he would go
Mm,
for McGlynn because St Mirren have kind of faltered and he's
I
obviously
know,
been down
but I
the
do
way.
think that
His
maybe
stock's going down, no going up.
I know, but maybe he's just peaked. I mean,
Hmm.
top six finish, win a cup.
Yeah.
Maybe the players just aren't listening anymore. You know that
Hmm.
way that sometimes players need a new voice. Maybe he needs new players. But
Aye.
I do think that, and he'd probably be chuffed to see Olasanya because he was good under him at
Aye.
St Mirren. But
Possibility.
I think they're good signings. Livingston have obviously got Arfield in, and I think they've got a couple of youngsters on loan
Hmm.
and stuff. So I've got to admit I'm favouring Aberdeen because I think that business in the transfer market's just if they hadn't done any business, I'd fancy Livingston to get a point.
Aye.
But I think
But
the Cameron, I mean, it's like a spine in it. It's a better centre back, it's a better
mhm.
midfielder, and it's a better striker. And
Aye.
and I think imagine
Well, Lasagna,
Olasanya and Nisbet.
he's a
Aye,
striker, isn't he? Lasagna,
aye.
aye, well,
But imagine
he will be
Olasanya and
good.
Nisbet because that's pace and Nisbet's got good
Mhm.
finishing and stuff. But if he's playing with Diddy's, and I think Carlson's left though,
Aye,
the
that's right.
Swedish
He's
boy,
away. He's away. Aye.
I don't think that's any
Was he
great
no
loss
only on
'cause
loan anyway? He was on loan.
I think he was just there to show himself off. He didn't care about Aberdeen.
But
Aberdeen need players who care about Aberdeen. I know he scored like 6 goals, but
he wasn't
to
showing
me
himself
that's
off though,
not.
because he didn't have a great time, mate. Did he?
No, I know, but I always felt like he'd turn it on when he wanted to, like when the cameras were on, like
Hmm.
when he was playing Rangers or
Aye,
Celtic or
live games with telly.
and some of the European nights. I thought he was decent, but
Hmm.
I don't think he was asked about a tough night in St Mirren or a tough afternoon at Dundee. You
Aye.
know, I just felt that he was an individual, and Aberdeen need a team. And as I said, I'm going to take Aberdeen. I'm actually going to take them 3-1, 3-1 to win.
Oh.
I think they'll be close at times, but I think they'll pull away. And
I think they'll.
I think it could be a wee turning point for Aberdeen
I think they'll win 2-0. And there you
because I
go.
also think,
Alisanya. I think
aye,
Alisanya might score as well.
and I think I wouldn't be that surprised if Lyle Cameron scored because I think he was hard done by at Rangers. I really do. And I hope he comes back in the summer. But I think he's a good wee player. In fact, I
Maybe,
would argue that he offers just as much as Asgard would.
maybe the Aberdeen should go for the boy Curtis as well at Rangers.
Well, I think he's going to Kelly. I think that's
Is
done.
he?
And Rangers are we're only holding on to him because we're using him in these European games, just because we maybe don't want to use all our top players
Does
against
that
Porto
include
next
next week as
week.
well? Even though
Aye,
you're out. So,
aye.
but then
So
what
he's going
happens
to
if he
play.
plays against Porto next week and gets injured? Then the Kelly moves off, isn't it?
That's a risk in it.
Aye,
But I think our idea is that what happens if you send him away, play Gassama, and he gets injured.
I know.
So
You're kind of.
I'm sorry, but sometimes you need to be selfish and cruel to be kind, as they say. And the big picture is
At
that
the end of the day, he's your player. He's no
yeah,
Kilmarnock's player. He's your player.
we don't need to release him before until we're ready.
Hmm.
Um,
It's
but
like
I do think
Maswinisi. I
he,
want this. I want
aye,
Celtic to get Maswinisi, but if it takes to the last day of the window to get him, then so be it.
yeah, I think he will be a late move wherever he goes. But yeah, I think I'll take 3-1 Aberdeen.
I'll
You said
2-0.
2
I'll
0
go Aberdeen. Yep.
Right, this one's a tricky one because it's always tricky when Dundee United are involved. But Dundee United St Mirren, I'm going to take St Mirren to get another point. I think St Mirren are that sort of team that when they get a point, they tend to build on it. And I think they've been losing games that they could have drawn. And I think sometimes when you get that maybe undeserved late goal, it gives the players a wee boost. And yeah, I'm gonna say another score draw, maybe one each.
A draw.
But I do think if anyone's going to win it, I'd say Dundee United.
I think Dundee United
But
will win.
I do think that I think in general there's not much between the two teams.
Mm.
But I just think sticky patch for St Mirren. I'm going to just say one each. But
I'll go 2-1 Dundee United.
right, this for me is the toughest game to predict. Falkirk Hibs.
Mm.
Because, and I'll tell you
Yeah.
why it's tough. Falkirk are on the back of a great cup win. Hibs are on the back of a poor cup loss. And Falkirk's at home, so I think that gives them more of a chance. But I
Hmm.
expect a reaction for Hibs.
So would I. Hmm.
I just in the last game they finished 2 each, didn't it?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Falkirk came back for 2-0 down and got like a 2-2 at the start of the season. It was one of those
Yeah.
midweek games.
Mm.
Oh God, I really don't know. So now, I certainly would not be putting this on a betting slip. I'll tell you that one. I'm going to take Hibs 2-1, even though I'm not in any way confident about that.
I'll
Because I
go.
do think that Hibs are the sort of team that will get better once the transfer window's closed. Because I think there's probably a lot of players that maybe are thinking, can I get a move? All of that, like Bowie and Mulligan. There's a lot of players there that could leave before the deadline, and I wonder if maybe they're just sort of dipping their toe in. They're not
Mhm.
fully committed. Whereas I think Falkirk will be fully committed. Oh, do you know? I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to say 2-1 Falkirk. I've convinced myself that some of I felt the Hibs players' attitude against Dunfermline was terrible, and I did notice players half-arsing it, and I just wonder if maybe they're doing
Maybe
that
some of their
because they're
heads have been turned.
aye. Look, Bowie, if you're getting told, "Oh, I'm a £6 million player," is he maybe tiptoeing around to
That's
try to?
see that, but
It
he's
happens
no
though.
a £6 million player. He's no worth £6 million at
Look,
all.
look at Iggy, man. Look what happened to him. We know he's a talented footballer, but as soon as the big move got touted, he just chucked it. And
Aye.
doesn't make you a bad player. It might not make you a very good professional, but
Aye.
um, no, I don't know. I've convinced myself, Falkirk.
I still think Hibs will win it. I'll go 1-0 Hibs. No, I'll
Right.
say 1-0.
This one on paper should be very comfortable, but the last time we said that with Motherwell at home to Dundee, it ended up being 1-0. Did it not? Or was it
Think
Dundee? I
so.
think it was
Something
Dundee or
like that.
Livingston or something, and they ended up only winning 1-0, and it was like I think maybe Livingston, that's it. But it's Motherwell Kilmarnock, and I do think that Neil McCann will get a reaction from those players. But
Hmm.
again, I do wonder if that's going to happen after the transfer window closes, after they get business done.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I've got to go with a home win. I'm going to say 2-1 to Motherwell. But only because, again, is there a few Motherwell players that are maybe thinking about moves?
Hmm. Well, we
Yeah,
just
I'm
mentioned
going to say,
Maswinisa, didn't we?
yep. And I'm going to say, and I know Elliot Watt's out injured at the moment, so yeah, I'm going to say 2-1 Motherwell. But that's only because I do think that Kelly are working hard. They're just not really getting the breaks. I mean, they probably should have beat Dundee in the cup, but the goalie made an arse of one, didn't he? Came for a
Mm.
cross and dropped it. And when you're down at the bottom, some things like that just don't go for you.
Yeah.
I do think Kelly will pick up points soon, but I just don't. I don't think it starts on Saturday.
Mm.
I'm going to say 2-1.
I agree with you. I think it'll be 2-1 as well to Motherwell.
Right,
That's
on
one I'm
to
agreeing with
Sunday.
on.
Because Sunday's massive. It's massive. Two
Uh,
games, same kick-off time.
Super Sunday.
Yep. Uh, I'm going to start with Rangers Dundee because I think it is the lesser of the two big
Both
games.
are a
Not
three
for
o'clock
Rangers fans.
kick-off as well, aren't they?
Yep.
Both of them.
Yep.
Aye.
Yep. Uh, I think, and this is not being harsh because Dundee have been a very tough team to play against. I just think that with the new signings, the likelihood of Andreas Skov
Scott
Olsen
Wilson.
getting a start and Chukwani, and I also think just the fact that Rangers are on a winning run, even last night, if Rangers had drawn that game, I'd maybe have said, oh, do you know what, that could be us stuttering. But sometimes you kind of just there's something in momentum. And I don't think it'll be like 4-0 Rangers or anything like that. Like,
Mm.
I don't think Rangers are capable of that. Like, Celtic can go and beat teams 4-0 at home. I don't think Rangers are really capable of doing more than 2-0. And that's what I
Right.
think it'll be. I think it'll be 2-0. I think
2-0.
it'll be tense. I just think it'll be one of those games that will probably get a set piece and there'll probably be a bit of brilliance and that'll be enough. But I don't really. I think Rangers will get tougher games coming up because I think after that they've got to go Easter Road next weekend, and then I think we've got a midweek game with Kelly at home, then a midweek game at Motherwell away. There's games that Rangers will drop points in February. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure of it.
Have you got a
But
midweek home game coming up? I know at some point.
and I think you've also got a midweek home game to like Livingston, but you've also got an away game to Pittodrie,
What, midweek?
which will be a tough one. Aye, that's the 4th of February. It's right after 2 days after the window.
Right.
Because see the Tuesday, that's the Edinburgh Derby.
Wait a
That's
minute.
the Tuesday night,
I
and
take it the window shuts on the Monday.
Monday, yep. And then
Aye,
the
the Monday.
Tuesday you've got the Edinburgh Derby, and then the
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday you've got Aberdeen Celtic and Rangers Kilmarnock, and
Right.
obviously 3 other games. But
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, we've got 2 midweek ones either side of the Scottish Cup.
Mm-hmm.
Because I still don't know who Rangers are playing yet,
Aye.
because
Well, as
that's a
far
bit
as
of a farce.
but what happened in that one?
So I think Stranraer have been treated really badly, right? Because this is my understanding of it, right? Stranraer game gets postponed on the Saturday, right? Stranraer's goalkeeper is on loan, right? He
Uh-huh.
gets recalled by his club on Monday because they're allowed to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Stranraer only have a young 16-year-old goalkeeper. So by the rules and during the window, they're allowed to go make an emergency loan signing, right?
That's only fair.
Which they do. So they make the signing. It gets ratified by the SFA, right? Fair dues. So the boy plays, makes a penalty save, they win the game. But technically, based on the rules, you're not allowed to add any players to the squad after the date of the match when it should take place. So it should have taken place on the Saturday. But
Can they not make exceptional circumstances in that case because of what happened and the nature of
well,
how it happened?
also, I would make the circumstance that the SFA shouldn't have allowed the player to go back to his club until after that tie. Then, if that's the case, I
I
think it's
know.
more of
Well,
an SFA error than a Stranraer error, and I think they
yeah.
should be allowed to stay in the cup because I don't think it's not even one that they've made an admin error or they've tried to hide something.
No, they've obviously come out.
They
They've
knew
declared
they
everything.
were
So,
told that the player was eligible as well.
aye.
So,
Oh well.
but hey
But
ho,
getting back to that, I think Dundee will score, but I think Rangers will win 2-1 as
yeah.
well. Well, there
Yeah,
you
that,
go.
that wouldn't surprise me because Dundee scored. They were really strong for set pieces against us in the first game, where I think they
Aye.
finished one each.
Mm-hmm. Aye.
But yeah, if we move on to obviously I'm going to say the bigger of the two Sunday games, just because obviously it's two of the top three teams.
I would say it was bigger. I would say it was
Uh,
bigger.
but 3 points is 3 points, no matter where you get them. I mean, and,
I know.
and I know there's a lot of people saying that if Celtic lose, they're out the title race. I don't believe that. I
No, I
don't
think
believe
so.
that
I think
with
so
Mark. I
because
don't think
well,
9 points is irretrievable. I don't.
It's a massive. I
I
think it's a
think it's
big. Well, see, when
difficult.
Celtic are 9 points in front, you normally say there's no way back for anybody.
Yeah, but normally there isn't three teams in a title race.
I know.
And what I would
Well,
say is, even if Celtic, I'm just saying, if Celtic went 9 points behind, right, and Rangers beat Hearts twice, right, forget about Celtic's results. If Rangers beat Hearts twice and you beat whoever you're playing on those two games,
hmm
all of a
I know.
sudden, at worst, you're only three behind us. And if you beat us in one of the games, then you're let dead even. So
It's all
I'm just
hypothetical.
saying it's
But aye,
I,
yeah.
with 15 games left to play after Sunday, nothing's getting won
Still a lot
or
of good
lost.
time left.
Aye.
But I think with the injuries to Hearts that they've had with Shankland and the
But
boy
you know what
Devlin out
though?
as well, I think Celtic with the new signing coming in, hopefully that'll boost them. And I'm praying that they can get a victory. They need
Can
we
I
need.
just say
It's
something
about
though?
time we beat Hearts.
It is. It's about time one of us beat Hearts. But
Mhm.
can I just say something? I think Hearts have shown up Celtic in the transfer market because this week they've had
They've got that
obviously two
analytics
injuries,
thing,
right?
haven't they? We don't have
Yeah,
that.
no, but it doesn't matter though. I think that Hearts have got an injury right to a centre mid, Devlin, and an
Aye.
injury to a striker, Shankland, right? And what did they go and do?
Ah,
They've
well,
went
we've
and
got both
signed
players. That's
a
because they've got a
centre
guy
mid
there, Tony
and a
Bloom, who
striker.
knows what he's doing.
I know, but it's not about money. I mean, I think the
I'm not talking
striker
about
they've
money. I'm
got
just
is
talking
like,
about
I know
having anything up here in terms of knowing what to do.
they're having, because everyone says that you need to be proactive, right? But sometimes you need to be
Be
reactive,
reactive.
and they've been reactive. They've seen something bad happen and they've remedied it. And I think the two players they brought in is Mark Leonard. I don't know if you remember him. Used to be a young Scottish under 21 international. He was
Heard
down at
them, aye.
Birmingham.
hmm
So he's coming up to play centre mid. And then they've got this guy, Mato, something like that. He's a like Ugandan striker who's, you can't read anything into his scoring record. It's something like 13 games, 12 goals, right? It's at a Diddy league, right? But
Aye,
a goal scorer still a goal scorer. And I
aye.
think that I just think sometimes we need to praise Hearts because they've been reactive and they've certainly shown Celtic up on how to do business.
Mhm. Aye, they certainly
But
have.
that
But
doesn't mean they get results for that. But these two players
no,
could be shite. We don't know. But what I
I
would
would
say is
play. I would.
I do think you need to point that out though and praise Hearts for
Oh,
acting
definitely, I will.
professional.
Put them in the back for that. But I'm hoping that we
Uh,
play our striker on Sunday because they won't know anything about him. They won't know how to maybe know how to handle him. So
no,
hopefully
but there's
that's a
also the
spanner in the
worry
works.
that you won't know
Oh, I
how
know,
to
I know, but I
use them
get that. I get that.
because
I know.
you're only going to get one training session with him on
No,
Saturday.
no, he said two actually. He was training with the
Well,
B
he
team the other
will,
day there.
but he's not training with the players that can make those passes like
I know.
Engels and whatnot. But I
hmm
don't know. I think Celtic will win, right? And
So do I.
I don't know why, but because basically, right, see on
What?
form,
Well, German,
Hearts form,
German,
right?
Celtic.
But I just think that the Martin O'Neill factor, and I just think that it's not so much that it's just that Shankland's out injured. I just think he's such a big part of
He is.
their overall game.
He
Because
is.
I think people talk about his goals, but I don't think he's. I'm going to be. This might sound harsh, right? I don't think he's that good a goal scorer. But the thing that I've noticed about him is, I think he's been an excellent footballer. His hold up play, the way he
Mm.
brings other players into it,
Aye, the
he's
likes of
matured
Braga.
as a
It helps
footballer.
him out as well.
Aye. So, but Hearts do have a big squad, so they can bring in Kabori and they can play Braga and
hmm
Kabori. And
hmm
as I said, but I do think Beningaby will be the biggest miss of all, though, because I know he's suspended and you can't do anything about that. It was a definite red
hmm
against St Mirren, but I think he'll be a big miss because I've always found that he gets right into Callum McGregor's face.
Aye.
And I think if you let Callum McGregor and whoever plays, I think it'll be Engels and Negrin. I really do. I think Hattati should be
I think I
dropped.
think I think you're possibly right there.
But I think if you give them too much space, they will hurt you. And I imagine it'll be Yang, Taneke. I think
Mm.
it'll be Yang, Taneke, and Maida. I do. I think the boy will come off the bench.
You don't think Chavanchara
Um,
will play for the start then? No.
no, I think they'll try and do a Scott Sinclair and have him come on for half an hour and get the winner
All right.
the way he did all those years ago under Brendan Rodgers, if I
Mm.
remember rightly. That
Aye.
was at
hmm
Tynecastle, and
That's right.
I think he got registered at like 12 o'clock in the afternoon and was scoring at 8 o'clock at night. I don't know. I think some of the words that Martin O'Neill came out with suggested that he'll be on the bench. But he's obviously a a player that's not just it's not just for one game. It's for the 16 league games
Mm-hmm.
that he's here
I
for,
know. I know.
and the cup games and the
Aye.
European
But you want to see him,
European games after
see what
next
he's
week,
made
obviously.
of, really, against a team like Hearts, because obviously they're one of the better teams in
But
the league.
sometimes you need your tried and trusted though,
I
and
know.
just let Maeda run for 60 minutes and tire them out, and maybe he comes on and
Mm-hmm.
if it's one each or you're maybe winning the game, he can come on and help you see it out because it seems like he's a big physical lad, bit
Aye.
of pace. So
Able to hold the ball up.
yeah, I think it's going to be 2-1 Celtic, but at the same time, just like my prediction with the Falkirk one that I changed to 2-1 Falkirk, I wouldn't be
Mm-hmm.
surprised if it was the other way around because
I'll go 2-1 to Celtic as well,
and
because I think
and
they'll
what I
win.
really think though is the first 15 minutes are key. If
Mm-hmm.
Celtic don't lose a goal in the first 15 minutes, I think they'll win. But if Hearts score early, I think they'll beat you
Right.
because I there's something about Tynecastle. When
Mm-hmm.
you lose an early goal, look at the game. I know Rangers did go on to lose the game, right? But we got a goal that was chopped off very marginally offside, right?
Mm-hmm.
But their whole stadium went flat when that went in. And see, for 5 minutes after that, Rangers dominated and should have probably scored other goals.
Yeah.
But when you give them a chance to take a lead, they place and then they get a second quickly after it.
I know.
They're a good
It happened the
side
last time at
when
Tynecastle with us,
uh,
so. Yeah.
and that sort of thing. But you did battle back to get the equaliser there, if I
Mm-hmm.
remember rightly, and
Aye,
then
we did. We did.
just chucked it in the second half. These were just terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'll go 2-1 Celtic, but I would not be surprised if Hearts won. But that's
Mm.
only because. But I think honestly, the first 15 minutes will tell me everything I need to know about who's going to win that game.
But you'll be watching the
Um,
Rangers game. You'll not be watching the Celtic Hearts game anyway.
I know. Well, so the good news. The good news is we've got plenty of phones, TVs,
Aye.
iPads in this world, so I'm sure I'll
Mm-hmm.
be keeping an eye on it.
Yeah.
Just like I'm sure you will when Hearts play Rangers. If you're playing at the same time,
Oh, aye,
at
definitely.
some point you'll be sitting there going, "Wonder what's happening in that fucking game." But yeah, I think we can leave it there. We'll come back on Monday,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll talk about the weekend's games. We'll do the wee preview for the final two European games, and then
Yeah.
obviously next Friday we'll do the games for next weekend, and then we've obviously got
The
the
transfer
Monday
deadline
where we'll
day.
do the transfer deadline day. But I'm thinking, do we just push that back to the Tuesday and just talk
Possibly
about
after the
everything that's
window's
actually
closed.
happened?
Aye.
Aye,
Maybe
because
not
I
a
think
bad
if we're
idea.
sitting here at 8 o'clock, there might be things that happen in the last 3-4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Aye.
or things
Right.
just might not be confirmed. And I
Mm-hmm.
think it'd be a good place to look at both, not both, all three. We'll look at all the squads and we'll
Right.
review. Cool.
Cool.
Right. Have a good one.
Right. Right. You too, mate.
Right.
Thanks again.
Right. Bye. Bye.
Bye bye.